What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to another video. So in this video, I want to continue my series of narcissistic mothers and their sons, and how they pretty much raise their sons into becoming people who have personality disorders themselves. And the one that sticks out a lot in these males of narcissistic mothers are dismissive avoidance. And I want to talk about what dismissive avoidance is. I feel like that mothers play a big role in their sons becoming this way. But to give you a definition of one, okay, a dismissive avoidant is a person who barely express their feelings. And if they do, a lot of times is in a more sexual way or through gifts. They have a hard time expressing emotions. They are very emotional disconnected. They feel as though they don't need anyone. They got themselves and they don't want people to really need or rely on them for anything. They have hidden intentions a lot of times, but it doesn't mean that their intentions are bad. It's just the way that they are, and that's the way that they get along in life. Um, Again, my personal opinion of a dismissive avoidant person is someone who has come up in a family household under a narcissistic mother. That's just my opinion. Or a mother who, shows strong traits of narcissism. You know, they put themselves first and kind of tend to forget about your needs as a partner or a friend. Dismissive avoidants are very hot and cold. They are the push pull type. They push you away a lot of times in a way to where, they just become unavailable. And that's their way of taking a break from everything that's been going on with their relationship, whether it's a romantic relationship or just a regular friendship with people in general. That's their way of dealing with just the pressures of people. That's how they deal with people. And a lot of times I can see how this can be, um, you know, kind of seen as a narcissistic person. I can understand. It's very, very similar, but not the same. And they sometimes have a hard time dealing with constructive criticism. They develop that poor me. I'm doing the best I can. Even though my best is a lack of effort for doing better than I should, you know, and they just look at their efforts as being excused, even though they offer the very bare minimum to please others, because again, they don't feel like they should have to please other people. They do as they please. They do what they feel in the moment, whatever excites them. Again, they're very hot and cold. They're in it for a moment and then they're gone. But when they're in it for that moment, they are all in. They're fully dedicated to whoever they're pursuing. Say, for instance, in terms of a relationship, you know, and what they can't deal with is a person who they feel is complaining. A lot of times they just up and exit a relationship with someone, even though it's been going great. You had an amazing time with them, a long term relationship or short term relationship. It's been great. And then the moment that they just start to feel like you require a little bit more out of me than I'm really willing to give, so I think I'm going to go ahead on and dip out, they'll do that in a heartbeat. You know, those are the ways of a dismissive avoidant. Those type of people, it's just like you can't rely on them to be there for the long term. And that can really put a strain on your relationship with one, again, whether it be friendship or a romantic relationship. A lot of times people will say that they make the worst partners. because you don't know if they're going to be there from one moment to the next. And that's not a good situation to be in. It doesn't feel good to not have that security in knowing who your partner really is, not knowing that you can depend on them to be there and supply your needs and see the value in you as a person first. Um, you know, After some time has passed with a DA, they'll begin to feel lonely. They may even start to reach out to people again, you know, like they never even disappeared. And then they just pour out their feelings and emotions about things that wasn't there back then when you really needed to see that side of them. They have a hard time explaining why they do what they do. They feel like they don't even have to give you an explanation, and that shows a very selfish side of them. Their priorities are out of place. They selfishly make decisions without their partners being included on in it. For example, um, they just do things for the moment that they find enjoyment in, that they find excites them. And they know with you being their partner, you're going to tag along, you know, as a couple. But they would later on throw it in your face as something you should take as, I was doing this to make you happy, when it's not something that you even asked for to begin with. That's how dismissive avoidance, that's how they are in relationships. They expect you to look at their efforts as, oh, I did my very best and you should just be satisfied. That's why they're called dismissive avoidance. They dismiss the fact that you have feelings and you're entitled to your opinion about how things are going in a relationship. And then when they just up and avoid acknowledging your feelings and emotions, that's where the avoidance come in at. They just show that they simply don't care for the moment. And they'll let a long time go by before they acknowledge that. So much time may have gone by before they acknowledge it, you might not even feel the same anymore. Again, with a friendship or relationship with one. This is what you can kind of expect out of one. And they're not in a good place because they are suffering emotionally. They're suffering themselves with dealing with themselves. It's not easy for them to be that type of person. And the weird thing is, they will even try to turn you off sometimes so that it makes it easy on themselves for not to have to push hard to prove that they are not as bad as they may seem to you. I know it sounds confusing, but that's who they are. So thank y'all for watching, and I'll be back with the next video.